want to welcome, we ready? We want to welcome those around the world who are watching us this morning. We are grateful for you being here. We are taking on one of the topic that has really invigorated people around the world because everybody knows somebody who has been scammed. And so we as a church want to be clear that we are involved in every aspect of people's lives, and so we want our members to be smart in what they do and wise in what they do. And so Bedford Central, since we are an unusual church, not backing away from any topic, we have brought to you one of our top leaders in this area. Detective Simmons have worked extensively with New York NYPD for many years, covering the whole gamut of areas, and we are delighted he's with us. He loves the church, he's involved in the church, and he's one of our greatest supporters here of many years. He's the one who gave us scholarship 3 years ago for our young people going to college with a marvelous donation for our college students. So he loves us, and we are grateful. So without much further ado, put your hands together and welcome Detective Simmons today.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here. I'm 19 years this year on the job. I've dealt with homicides to grand larcenies to financial crimes. But what's more prevalent right now, I like to speak to you guys about what affects this community. Bed-Stuy, East Flatbush, Canarsie, East New York, which is made up of our dynamic. And unfortunately, I am sad to say that most of our dynamic people are being scammed, and it's happening every day. Every day, somebody's walking in. Now I'm the financial crimes guy at my bureau, and it's sad. It's sad to see the range of scams that are happening. And I just want to let you know, I can't go over every scammer, how they do it right now, but I can tell you what mostly affects this community. First and foremost, I'm gonna advise you guys that if you have an account, if you have a bank account, number one, it seems like common sense, but it's not. If you have an ATM card, never write your PIN number on the back of the ATM card. That's number one. Number two, you might not want to use your cell phone to access said account, because a lot of times right now I find out a pattern where people are logging on with their cell phones, opening up links, and their cell phones are disabled for at least 24 hours. And before they are able to get back to the store and find out what happened, their accounts have been wiped out. And they come to me looking for solutions to this, and there is none at that time. The horse has gone through the gate. The bank, more than likely, is not going to give you back your money, and if they do, it's a delay, and it's a credit of the money, a percentage of the money that was taken. And what happens after that, it sits in limbo. If they are to give it back to you, it'll be about 18 months. So I would say if you have a phone, and it looks like this crowd is, I have an old phone. I don't do banking on the phone. I prefer to go to a teller to do banking. All right. I'm going to show you a video about ATMs and how they are compromised, and even using the card, your bank card in certain locations are compromised. And if you're going to go to the bank, it would behoove you to go inside the branch. I know you guys have ATMs outside the branch. Go on during banking hours and try to go to the ATM inside the branch, because on the outskirts of the bank, those machines have been compromised. Just the other day, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Capital One on Rockaway and Glenwood. Anybody familiar with that one? They just took a Skimmer Device off the ATM inside the bank. And it's something very very skinny. It's like it's as slim as a razor. It's about that long. It goes inside the card slot and sticks up on top. And it's a reader. And 5 people responded over to that precinct over there shortly after that Skimmer Device was taken. I'm saying that the accounts have been wiped out. It's sad, but I can't tell you that don't go and get your money. Don't do this. I can only try to tell you to prevent you from easy targets, being an easy target. All right? Another thing is the barcode. I can look at this crowd now. I know nobody here uses a barcode. Anybody here uses a barcode on their phone? And nobody. It really is the younger generation that are using the barcodes. They go to the restaurants, they pick up the phone, and what happens is it's just an easier way of life if done correctly and if there's nobody out there to get you. I'm going to play this clip here with the barcode real quick, if you can play it. And you might want to tell your children this, because I don't see this crowd being a barcode user. But I see a lot of people who go to restaurants like Applebee's, Red Lobster, things like that. You might want to pay attention to this.
Everyone, pull out your phones. I'm going to tell you why in a second, but it's really important. All right, get your phone out. Now, in a world where technology is constantly evolving, we're all trying to keep up with changing trends. And one group that has their finger on the pulse of the latest and greatest are the scammers. Right now, they are targeting people who use QR codes, all the ones you see in all the restaurants now. An updated version of the old-fashioned barcode. Now, here's how it works. Again, you get your cameras out, right? Your phones, turn the camera on, and then I want you to look at this QR code. You see that? Right here on the screen. Now, hold your camera to it, and it will automatically scan that code. I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to leave the code up there for a minute. Go ahead and do it. Put your camera on, aim the camera at the QR code like you normally would, and you're going to see a website come up. Where did it take you? To the website with a handsome baby picture of me saying, "Don't toy with me." God, that was an awkward time in my life. Anyway, it's a harmless photo, but scanning a scammer's QR code could have taken you anywhere on the internet. And crooks are using these QR codes to clean out your bank account. Security expert Bill Stanton wanted to see just how easy it is to set a QR code trap. Here's how the new QR code scam works. Bill Stanton is acting as our scammer. He goes out looking for real QR codes from good, honest businesses. Then when he finds one, he sticks his fake QR code right over the real one. So when the customers scan the fake code, they're sending their personal info right to the scammer. Scammers use this info to drain people's bank accounts and to steal their identity. We set up a social experiment to see just how easy it is to scam customers. First, we found a lovely bakery in Tuckahoe, New York. They were offering a contest for a free chocolate cream birthday pie. Just scan their QR code to enter. We rigged the bakery with cameras. Bill enters, and when no one is looking, he brazenly puts a fake QR code sticker over the bakery's QR code. Then he finds a nearby table and waits for customers. It takes only 10 minutes for his first victim to scan the QR code. This is what pops up on her phone. Time to confront her.
My name is Bill Stanton. I'm with the Dr. Oz Show. Now, we just saw that you scanned that code right there.
Yes.
Now, what you potentially did was give up all your information, so you had no idea that was happening, did you?
No, and you do it at restaurants now all the time, or front doors of like places you go to eat to do the menu. So yeah, it's good to know. I never thought about it.
Minutes later, another victim scans the QR code.
You just got scammed by me being a would-be scammer.
If I'm inside the establishment, right, then it would be sanctioned. They wouldn't be having...
That's what you would think, but I put the sticker up when they weren't looking. Where people will do that thinking that there's not a sticker on it, and potentially I have your bank account, I have your credit card information.
Off the scan?
All that stuff off the scan.
We couldn't resist fooling a few more customers.
I am so sorry. You have been scammed. Yeah.
But don't worry, no one in our experiment was actually scammed. In fact, we sent them all home with a free chocolate cream pie.
We're not taking your identity, but you get the pie.
So much better than taking my identity.
My goodness, that was just too easy. Security expert Bill Stanton is joining me now, along with Maria, who stepped.
Okay, we're going to move right into the next video. I think this one would more relate to us here. All right, you can cue up the next one.
Good morning, citizens. My name's Ray Garvey. I'm your police chief here in Freeport. The reason we're making this video this morning, we received some information from TECU officials regarding a skimmer device that's being used at some of the locations around the county. I have Detective Hutchison here with me this morning. This is a device that's being used to get your information, your PIN code information, and able to access your account. I'm going to turn it over to Detective Hutchison.
So we just want to let you be aware of what these devices look like and things that you can look for when you pull up to an ATM to make sure you're not going to be the next victim for these people. So this piece right here is what's going to read your card and what gives the criminals your card information. It simply fits over the existing one and sticks on there. When you slide your card in and pull it out, it reads your information. The next thing is this small cover that simply fits right here over where your cash comes out. If you look closely at the top of this, you'll see a hole. In this hole is a camera that records you pushing your PIN number, and this is how they're getting your PIN number when they match it to your card information. So when you pull up to an ATM, a couple of things you can do is give this a little tug. It should not come loose like this. It should be securely in the ATM. Another thing you can do is look for that hole. There should be no cameras looking at the PIN pad of the ATM. Most ATM cameras are mounted within inside the unit itself. You can also give this a little tug, and if it comes off, if you ever come across anything like this, just give us a call and we can come take a report and take the device from you.
Again, we just wanted to pass this information on to you. We want to thank TECU for letting us know. Again, if you've had any transactions or anything, if your account's been hacked, they ask that you contact your local bank, your local credit union, and they will address the situation at that time.
I can show you a lot of videos, but I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to stick to what I think you guys are going to be targeted with. I believe this one more so than the barcode, it's more fitting for you guys. And if you're going to an ATM, be careful of the ATM inside the store. Don't use those things. I'm going to just tell you right now, if you can avoid them, don't use them. And if you are going to punch in your PIN number, it would behoove you to cover your hand like this and punch in the number. And it would behoove you to use a glove. Anybody knows the reason why? Huh? Besides COVID. No, not the fingerprint, but you're close. There's a device now on certain iPhones. If you leave the ATM, guy comes up to the ATM, and he's able to do a heat signature on the buttons. He could tell you what buttons you push first because the heat signature on each button, it cools off at a different time. Could you imagine that? Just by holding an iPhone up to the phone. Certain iPhones have that technology where you can just put up there and you just see how the fingerprint, the heat signatures just disappear. So if you're going to press the button, press all of them. Put your finger on all of them. Cover them, put your finger on all of them. And if you do that, they're normally, 3 rows? Just put them on. They won't, even if they have a camera, they don't know what finger you're hitting to push down on the buttons. Just put your fingers on all of them. All right, you know your code, or cover your hand. If you're going out to eat, what I do with my significant other and my children, I have a $500 credit limit card. I have a $25,000 credit limit card. You might want to use that card to go out to eat. Get a low limit credit card. The most you can get hit is for $500. Whereas if somebody skims your card and if you have a credit line of $25,000, you wake up the next morning and that's it. You're responsible for that, and then you have to come make reports, and then we got to follow those leads down. More than likely, a credit card will be reimbursed, but it's going to take some time. You also have to worry about, I would say, anybody here know what the catfish, when you're being catfished? This is what I find in our community too. Catfish scam. Anybody? Who's saying that? Anybody can tell me what that's about? Okay, this is what it's about. I find a lot of women get hit with this. A lot of conservative women don't want to take chances in dating and stuff like that. I just had one in my office last week. She was a pen pal with a guy in England who was supposedly a pilot. And I gotta tell the truth and shame the devil. The guy was kind of like out of her class when she showed me the picture. If it's too good to be true, it probably is, you know. But the scammer, how can I put this? The scammer took advantage of her naivety. She didn't want to really trust her people. She was a woman of color, and she went with this guy who she thought this guy communicated with her for a year and a half. A year and a half. There's so much work he put in. And not only that, he sent her cards, sent her gifts, until she felt comfortable enough when he needed help. She sent him $27,000. She sat in my office and she cried. She cried. A year and a half talking to this guy, not even talking. There were few conversations over the phone. Everything was instant messaging. For a year and a half, these guys lay dormant and wait for the right time. And the reality of it, she showed me a picture of a guy who probably doesn't know anything about this. She showed me a picture of a guy who probably doesn't even exist. And I had to tell her, there's no way you're getting that money back. It's no way you're getting that money back. The accounts, when I did subpoena it, came back to England, but there's no way we can get that money back. And a lot of these scammers, when they take your money, they forward it into a dummy account. Everybody here knows or should know, you can get it. I can start a checking account right here from this phone. I don't have to walk into a bank to get it to open a checking account. A lot of people's names have been used to open same set accounts. So it behooves you to, again, if you're not planning on buying a house or a car, call Equifax, TransUnion, and what's the next one? Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Put an alert on your social security number. If you're not buying a house or a car, just do it. So anytime there's an inquiry, there's a red flag. Anytime there's a purchase where you have to open up a line of credit, there's a red flag. A lot of people don't know this. And I'm also working with the federal agents on something called unemployment fraud. Anybody here know about that? There's funds that have been set aside for people in New York. They call them undocumented workers relief fund, because they're not working because of the pandemic, especially in 2020. They have allotted people who are undocumented to have these labor cards. The bank actually doles out at least $14,000 to each person, and they're allotted to take money out of it each day. And these cards have been compromised. These cards have been compromised, and the feds get involved with it, and then I have to get involved with it. I'm working with them in conjunction with people that are just making thousands and thousands of dollars a day. I know a girl right now we have an investigation going on with her because what she does is she goes in people's mailbox and retrieve their card information, cancel their card, and reopens the card to be mailed someplace else. So, like I said, please just put an alert on your card. Again, I tell you, $500. Anybody here going out eating something more than $500 every day? Huh? Anything more than that, carry cash. All right. My big cards stay at home, and then when I take a trip to Jamaica, I go away. And then when I go away, you guys have to remember this. If I go away, every year I go to Jamaica, right? Every year I leave, I let the bank know I'm leaving. How many of you guys do that? All right? Let them know when you're leaving. Let them know when you're returning. All right? So if there's any activity while you're gone, it's going to be frozen in your account. There'll be no activity. And the liability should be on them. It should be on them. Another scam I wanted to tell you guys. This is something where the children are being involved in getting your information, your own children. I've had mothers sit in the interview room once I found out their child went inside their bag and took pictures of their cards and handed it off to somebody who put them up to it and said that the bank is going to ensure that the monies that were taken out are charged. And when I found out the IP address to the person who used a cell phone to purchase $8,000 in items, had the person come in the interview room, and lo and behold, he mentioned the name that was familiar to me, because the first thing I'm gonna do when you come into my office and say, you've been scammed, who's living in your house? And I don't want to, and it's not a personal thing, but it's a part of my investigation. Who's living in your house? The teenagers are more susceptible to being coaxed into getting your card information and passing it on. I've had mothers sit in the interview room and with their children and say, I don't know who you are anymore. Threats of being evicted, her last money gone. So when I find out who's living inside the house, the first thing I do is talk to your children. Because if I get involved, it's a lot of steps in the investigation, subpoenas being dropped, IP address, subpoenas for IP address, for emails. It's a long road. But when I find out who and you put me through that long road, first thing when you're in the room with me and you come to make the complaint, if I find out if it's your child, are you going to go through with the complaint? If not, just leave now. Because I think if they're gully enough to do what this kid did and pass that information on, $8,000 taken out of her account, and she's facing eviction. She has no money, and the bank is not reimbursing her because they find her liable. And that's hard. That is so hard. I don't know how to go about that, but I leave the room and let them talk to them. Another thing, I've been scammed. This goes back about 15 years. 15 years ago, I was at physical therapy, and I didn't have cash on me. And I only had my debit card. And it was a line. I remember giving it to the lady, the receptionist, and she said, step off to the side, we're gonna do it. We'll give you a receipt in a minute. So I stepped off to the side and let the line go on. When I left there the next day, returned to work, I remember checking on my account because I used the phone to punch in, to check on my checking account to see if certain things went through, payments. When that happened, I was missing $7,000, $7,000 and change. I went ballistic, and I'm a cop at the time. I'm a detective at the time. I was up in the detective squad. And when I found out I say, shoot, where was this? Some excellence detail in place up in Spanish Harlem. I called over there and I asked the guy, I says, listen, this is who I am. My card was used at that location. What can you tell me about this? Do you have the surveillance on this? I jumped in an unmarked police car and really had to go find out what was going on. I go there, I see a Spanish guy, Michael Simmons. The guy shows him the ID. Shows him an ID with Michael Simmons, and my card is the card that he was using. But it wasn't my card. My card had been duped. Unbeknownst to me at the time, the receptionist, she took my debit card, skimmed it, had a skimming device under her dress. It was very, very simple. You just slide it on and you give it back to the person. All your information is on that. So what happened was she gives information to this guy, and he does everything. Shops, does everything. But at this time, he detailed his car, got his car fixed, and put some other attachments on it. The only reason I got this guy is because they did a good job when he took the car there. They took the license plate. I ran the license plate. Didn't come back to him, it came back to his father. Make a long story short. Wind up locking up the guy. He told me that the girl at the physical therapy place took my information to work out a deal. Went back over there, and the Spanish lady said, I asked her, do you know a Mr. Delgado? She says, no. I says, well, you should. This stands for they got to go, so you got to go. I went around there and we hooked her up, we locked her up, and she's been doing this for the past 5 years at that place. 5 years. So again, knowing what I know, I knew better to give up my ATM card. What I should have had them do is just bill me, send me the bill home. Never give up that ATM card to places like that. Never do it. Never use your ATM card at one of those Fugazi store ATMs. Don't do it. And I can tell you that there's so many things I want to tell you. There's another scam that happened just the other day. Nice Jamaican woman. She's in Canarsie. I'm not going to give her name. The world is too small. But she basically got a call from what she believed to be her grandson. And the grandson, she couldn't hear too good over the phone. I got to tell this because this is targeted for you guys age of people here now. So listen, she is saying, oh, what's going on? What's happening? She called him out. What's going on? What's going on? I can't talk, Mom. Grandma can't talk. Said he's bandaged up. He's in jail. But he's muffling. She really can't make it out. She said, the lawyer's going to call you. Some Fugazi guy called her, said that he's representing him. He hit, and he's incarcerated. He hit down a pregnant woman, and he had been drinking. And the bond was $10,000, but we're going to do it for $8,000. We'll do it for $8,000. And then he said he had the grandson supposedly called her back and said, no, don't. And he's like, can't. He's like muffling his mouth. Don't tell grandpa. Don't. She didn't tell her husband. She went to the bank, withdrew out her last, and then what she did. She went home with this cash. You know, they sent somebody to her door to collect this money. They sent somebody to her door to collect this money. And when they did, the only good thing that she did, she asked the guy for his ID. And she took a snap on her phone of the guy. Handed over this money. She walked out and saw him bend in the corner and jump into her car and take off. Hours go by. She calls her son, her grandson, that is. Her grandson says, what's going on? Doesn't know what is going on, don't have no idea about what's going on. And she just gave that money up. Long story short, I found this guy working I'm gonna tell you where I found him working. I found him working in BJ's in Canarsie. My investigation led me back to that location, and he went on his break. I'm just gonna say the BJ's area. He went on his break, went to this woman's house and collected that money. That was after I caught up with him and locked him up. That was one of many drops that he did when I interrogated him. Many pickups and many drops that he did. He was working for some Dominican guy who was a scammer who got deported, and he does this for a living. This guy has an office in DR, and if you think we're going to DR to get that money, it's not happening. The Brooklyn District Attorney, before I don't even like to lock up people now in my career. I just let them lock up themselves. But after locking this guy up, he was out in 12 hours. That doesn't surprise me here in New York City. Somebody here gets caught with a gun, they rob you, the new bail laws, they're out. There's no bail. They're out because they say it's unjust for young black kids to not get afford the same opportunities as their counterparts, where people with wealthy families can afford bail. So they got rid of the bail laws, and now if somebody comes and robs you at gunpoint, the DAs this law has been passed that if they don't fire their gun, if they don't have no open cases, sometimes they even have an open case, they're out. There's no bail. There's no bail. I have a guy I know I worked on a case last year. They ran up on this guy to rob him. He threw his keys. Kids, about 4 of them, took the gun and they fired at him. Wrong bullets for the gun, it didn't go off. Those kids are walking the street now. And they've been involved in other shootings. This is the reality of it. And when I talk to the DA about this guy, a victimless, that's what they say. It's basically looked upon as a victimless crime, financial crimes. But the drug dealers, when you talk to them, the guys on the street, when I do my interrogation, it's easier than selling drugs. It's easier than selling drugs. And they're not gonna really go gung-ho. But the lady, I told her, I locked him up. She's working with the DAs right now. They're trying to get her to just have him take a program and trying to have him take a plea. And that's it. And the restitution would be something like whatever he can afford. So if they find out if it's $100 a month, he has to pay that back until he's finished with his $8,000. Is that fair? Is that fair? But that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. So when I say these things to you, again, the ATMs, again, credit cards, use a $500 limit credit card out here, all right? High limit credit cards, take them on travel, do whatever you're gonna do. Leave the country, let the bank know you're leaving and when you're returning. You guys don't really have to worry about the barcode. I'm gonna tell you about this other scam that's happening now. Anybody heard about the ConEd scam? They're knocking on your door. It's really happening right here. It's happening here. Somehow, I believe it's a leak in ConEd, or I believe that your mail, somebody's getting to your mail and they know you have an outstanding balance. And when they call you, they can call you from a ConEd number. You guys know that. They can call you from a ConEd number and not be nowhere near ConEd. It's called, I forgot what it's called, but they download an app. The app can make it look like I'm calling you from a police station, because they know the number's listed on it in the internet. It's spoof numbers. Spoof, that's it, spoof numbers. It can appear that I'm calling from the police station, and I'm not. I'm not calling from the police station, but it can appear. And what happens is, it looks legit, so they're saying, oh, we're gonna cut off your lights. We're gonna cut off your lights, and then it's the gas. My father, God rest his soul, had somebody in his house with this scam, put this guy in his car, drove him downtown to prove that the bill, he was gonna pay the bill. and drove this man back to Bed-Stuy. And I wasn't there. And it's not till my mother got on the phone and said, do you even know this guy? You put this guy in your car? And the guy had left already. But my father didn't give him no money because he's like, I guess he's just hard on his money. But he put this guy in his car, he could have killed him. Had this guy in his house, could have killed him. So if somebody comes to your house, you ask them for the ID. If you take a picture with your phone with the ID and make sure you're talking through a wall or a fence or a glass or a storm door, you come off, you say you'll be right back, and then you call ConNet. There's emergency numbers where you can call that's listed online. And you said, there's a ConNet guy here collecting money. Is this guy legit? And if they say no, your next call should be 911. And don't open that door. Don't open that door. If it comes down to it where they saying that they're gonna cut you, cut them off. Cut them off. You can't even evict nobody in New York City now. People living in your house for 3-4 years, rent-free. And you can't cut nobody's lights off. You can't cut heat off. It's against the law. Everybody should know that by now. Certain basic necessities just can't be cut off here in New York City. All right, so just be mindful. Don't be naive with that. What's the other scams? Some other things I wanted to run by you, but I'm ready to take any questions if anybody have any. Okay, yeah. Do you have a bill? Do you get a bill? Deal with the number on the bill. Don't deal with anybody leaving any message telling you to call back a number that they're providing for you on a answering machine. It should always be with the bill. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Anybody else? All right, got it. If that happens, if they know everything about you and you know that they're not legit, it's a waste of time to make a report. But what you should do, like I tell everybody, if you know my credit card information, you know this, by all means, knock yourself out. But I'm gonna lock my credit. Lock your credit, guys. Lock your credit. A lot of this stuff is sold over the dark web. Your information is out there. You can't, it's nothing 100%. You know the guy who says he made a big thing with LifeLock, puts his social security number on the side of the truck when he first came out. Nobody can steal his identity. He got hit. The guy got hit. You can research that. He got hit. And nothing is foolproof. What I'm trying to do today is just minimize the damage that can possibly happen to you. Because if they well want to get you, they're going to get you. All right? There are cars purchased without people's permission and authority. You just have to know that if you put an alert on your social security number, people have come to my office, didn't know they had houses in California. People have come to my office saying that, oh, I want to open up a complaint. The guy in East New York has a house in my name, and I want you to go over there and lock him up. This is what's going on. He's had the house for the past 3-4 years. Look at your credit. Look at your credit. Find out if your credit is being ran, because each time you run your credit, you hurt your credit. So if you put a lock on it, just put a lock on it. If you're not buying a house, you're not buying a car, an old boat, or anything like that, there's no need to really have it out there like that. Anybody can use it. Lock it. Just put an alarm on it. Just call Experian, Equifax, and Translune Tell them you want to put an alert on your Social Security right now. Anybody else?
We are live, so if you're going to ask a question, please come to the microphone, because people on Zoom and Facebook Live need to hear the question you're asking here. So if, any questions, just take the microphone and ask the questions.
The scammers, guys, I just want you to know, they know what to do and how to do, and they know that it's a long line to find them. It's a tedious thing to find them. My subpoenas are now 6 months backed up on certain IP addresses, and then if you get an IP address, you have it at a house. Say it's a computer. That computer is free reign for the whole house. Do I have probable cause to lock up everybody in the house? No. I got to find out who used that. So a lot of times it comes back, unless they're using their own personal phone, then I have something. But by that time, it's too late. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. Everything is gone. Again, the romance scams, they call catfishing. Please, ladies, if you know somebody who's
ladies, listen.
If you know somebody who's talking to somebody online and really, really don't know the person, just say like this: listen, I wish you well, but if you're going to send this guy money, let me know before you do it. Let me know. Just tell somebody. Tell somebody. My cousin got hit like that. Just tell somebody. Tell somebody. And the way my cousin is, she's very reserved. She has a personality. She's very kept to herself and everything. But those are the women that really are the ones who get hit. Who's looking for that right one. Who's looking for that Princess Charming. And there's no right one, and there's no Princess Charming unless God give them to you, you know. So that's it. All right, if you're thinking of finding it online, you might find it. My chances are you're not, you know, because you're looking for something that ain't there. And sometimes what you're looking for is right in front of you, but you don't want it. You know, that's exactly what it is, you know. So I leave this with you, and I wish you guys well. Any more questions before we go? One more question over here. Come.
Thank you so much. You just said that the best thing to do is to lock our credit. Is there any way, or the best one, if possible, to monitor our own credit?
You guys have credit cards, right? Credit card services provide credit card monitoring, credit monitoring. So each time your credit score goes up, or each time it's red, or each time there's an inquiry, I think it's called an inquiry, right? If there's an inquiry in your credit, will you pay for that service? They will hit you with your credit card, will hit you with an alert that there was a credit inquiry in New Jersey at this time, in this hour, okay? So once you see that, you know somebody, and it ain't you. So don't think you're going to make a police report and something's going to become of it, because they do that every day. They try to. If you come to any station and you say, listen, there was a credit inquiry on my account in Connecticut, they're not taking that report. This is just to be ahead of the game. Just to be ahead of the game, let you know what's happening in your world. And if that's happening, you better be looking at it a little bit more. But if you lock your credit, they can't get it. They can probably inquire about it, but they cannot get it. If they try to purchase anything big, it's not going to happen, because they have to call you first. Any more questions? Yeah.
Last thing, could you detail on Social Security, because there's a lot of scam calls going around with Social Security.
Yeah, I could talk about that one. Social Security, that's another scam thing going on, along with the IRS. I have a tenant right down here on Jefferson Avenue. I moved with him good. He basically told me the IRS called him, and he owes X amount of money with the federal government. And he took out this money, $5,000, to pay this IRS agent. First of all, you guys know IRS is not coming to your house unless it's not happening. It's just not happening. IRS is not coming to your house to collect money. Get that out of your head. Social Security Administration is not coming to your house to collect money. When he told me this, I agreed to have him meet him in front of the building. I sat in my car dormant for about 2 hours. And a blind squirrel didn't find a nut that day. He never showed. It's like he felt something, I don't know. I know, but it could have been easy. He could have been watching him, watching me talk to him before I got there, and just made a judgment call. He's not going to take the chance. Probably knew who I was. Probably was somebody that set him up, that knows him, that knows he has money, and know that who I am. So they know, don't take the chance. I sat out there in my car for 2 hours. And that's just what it is. Do not give up no money at your door. That's not the way you're doing it, okay? Any more questions? Huh? You have a lot. Go ahead, just because you're probably saying something that they want to ask.
Also, there's a lot of scam call going around, like money laundering. They call and say, "Oh, you're doing money laundering in different state, and we can help you by speaking to a detective, and they will help you clear it." And what they want you to do is open a new bank account, and they will open another new bank account for you. So what they do, they clear out your bank account.
Well, you guys know, especially with these calls coming in, and anybody tells you that you have to give up money over the phone or give up account information, tell them go fly a kite. All right, it's not happening. A lot of these scammers. The other day, they got picked up in Jamaica. I think besides Nigeria, Jamaica is number 2. I'm dead serious about that. It's a big thing going on in Jamaica where they're scamming people left and right. And I'm very wary when I go down there. But again, do not give up no information over the phone about your account. If somebody makes threats to cut off anything, wish them well and hang up the phone. In that call right there. It's not worth it. And they know who you love and how you love. The thing with the lady and her grandson, somebody knew that information. And she didn't tell nobody. I wish I can call her right now, put her on speaker. She didn't tell nobody. All right. She didn't tell nobody. Next week, her sister got hit for $50,000. She told me she was embarrassed. Don't be too embarrassed to tell your story, because you can save somebody else. Okay? I leave that with you, and Godspeed.
I tell my near missed was, if you own timeshare, timeshare is another one. The timeshare scam that I came close to be scammed with, because if you have a timeshare, they call you, and so they can sell your timeshare for you real fast. And so I came close. When I got turned off is when they were asking me to send them money to sell my timeshare. Nothing go like that. If I'm selling my timeshare, you pay me. I don't pay you to sell my timeshare. And so that's when I got caught on. So if you have a timeshare, be aware that somebody's trying to sell your timeshare or for you, but they're going to ask for money up front. And they sound real good here. What, pardon me? Oh, one time? Exactly. Detective, thank you so much. A big hand, please. This was very warm. Breakfast Central, once again, for those who are watching online around the world, we are grateful. I hope this has been beneficial for you. Here, we recognize that this is real. You know, my rule of thumb, if you don't name no shop on my phone, I'm not going to answer it. Here, so you can different ways you got to cope in making sure that you can turn on these telephone calls, because they are very skillful, very knowledgeable. And sometimes it's people who know you that is a part of the scam, trying to, you know, that's why they have your personal, your name and your information and a connection with your cousin and so forth here. And many of our members have been scammed real bad. So we want to make sure we address you at the beginning of the year to be wise here. Thank you for watching. Let's pray together. God, we thank you for the gift of Detective God, for what he has imparted to us. Thank you for his mind. Thank you for how he has helped us to be aware Help us now to be wise, that we may be able to be good stewards of your time and your resources. This we ask in God's name. God's people say amen. Thank you so much. If you want to come and talk to the detective, you can. Just wear your mask. But thank you so much who are watching around the world. Thank you. Have a great day. Have a great day.
And keep away from gift cards. Anybody tell you to purchase gift cards? It's a scam. Forgot to get into that. Gift cards. Anybody directs you to go to a pharmacy to purchase gift cards and scratch off the code and give it to them over the phone. It's a scam. I think I covered almost everything.
You covered everything, detective. You covered more than. Here's some people come in to take your cards to, Thank you. Cut it off, Steve. We can cut it off.